Hey everybody, Matthew here from MiniWargaming.com, and I am joined by Tony. Or if you are on the Ravish Star Discords at all, you probably know him already as LowerClassHero. That's right. I'm super excited. This week, Tony and I are going to be playing a lot of games of Ravish Star, as well as making a lot of adjustments to the rules, especially the Steel Specters. We've already actually done some of that and probably also making some like developer diaries, behind the scenes videos as well. Okay, there's going to be three types of videos. There's this one, which is just like we're just going to talk about things that we have been discussing. There's the battle reports, and then there's going to be like more official developer diaries that'll be a little nicer to look at, maybe. Anyway, it still has us in it, so that's nice as that can be, right? But Tony has been an instrumental part in the development of Ravish Star. He's been by far our top contributor on the Discord. He's responsible for the army builder as it is right now, and basically setting the points for everything. So if you don't like the points that are set, it's his fault. It's not mine. There's actually been something very liberating about not being in charge of the points. Not just because I don't want to do the work, but because they're not influenced by any business reasons. You know what I mean?
That's nice.
Yeah, because like the unit sizes and what we include, that's all influenced by like molds and pricing and what we can afford to do. But it's like there's some things that you just don't want the company to have control of. So you know that they're not just saying, well, we're going to lower the points of this thing so we can sell more of it. We're going to have a third party take care of it who has no investment money-wise in it, just a big investment like in passion in it. So let's turn the camera around and let's actually have a discussion about what we've been doing with the Steel Specters today, because they're the biggest focus right now is getting their rules pretty much done, because they're still in beta, and there was a lot of things that we still have to change to get them where I want them to be. But I feel like with the amount of games that we're going to play this week and the amount of work we're going to do on them, I think we'll get it pretty close. As usual, I'd love to get your feedback as well. The best place to do that is on Discord. That's where I check the most. You can leave comments here, of course, and make sure you subscribe on this Ravish Star YouTube channel so that you can be kept up to date of the extra stuff that we post here. All this extra stuff that doesn't really go on the main channel because it's just too behind the scenes and and it's not going to be of interest to our general audience. So if you are interested in Ravish Star, make sure to subscribe. All right, let's keep talking about what we did with the Steel Specters so far. So we've set up for a game, and I've brought things that we've mostly done changes to. There's still other things as well. So when Tony came in, he had a big list. He's like, oh, here's things that we should adjust. Here's things that we should discuss. And we went over a bunch of those. And so we're going to kind of rehash those, even though we've already talked about it, which if that seems awkward, that's just what it's going to seem like. All right, Tony?
Yep.
Stop being so awkward. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, so why don't you first talk about how what your experiences with the Steel Specters have been before coming here today?
Yeah, so they've been losing most of the games that they've played, but not by a whole lot. And then there have been some things that have been really, really overpowered, and some things that just people haven't been interested in. So we went through the list, and these are a lot of things that we think on paper will make them better, and will make those changes better. So we'll see.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you put in the same sentence, they're losing all their games, but some things seem overpowered. So how can something possibly be overpowered in an army that loses every game?
So like the Bladeburn Captain, if you've played Steel Specters, you've probably told someone about it. But they're just one character. So when you have one character that goes around and just deletes your opponent's characters, you're not necessarily helping yourself win the game. You're not scoring the points, but it's more so just causing frustration for the other person.
So even though you're losing the game, you can say that's overpowered because the rest of your guys really aren't doing anything. It's just this one guy carrying what little success you do have.
Yeah.
Is that basically the idea?
Yeah, that's one example, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree, because we have been finding the same thing with, you want every unit to have its part. Not every unit has to have the same strength level. That's what points are for, right? Or core versus elite versus support, all that kind of stuff. I know one of the things I didn't like about it, and I can say this, I wrote the rules for it, was my attempt to make all the commanders interesting. So for example, the Marshal, I was like, what do I do to make him interesting? Other than just making them all beat sticks, right? And so for him, I'm like, well, he'll buff land skimmers and give them skirmisher. But then I played a game with that, and it's just not good. It's just it's kind of ridiculous. You don't really get to interact with your opponent doesn't get to interact with them because they pop forward, take a shot, and then hide back and cover again. Or the Eclipse Enforcer gave I can't remember what the other ones are called that fly, but it gave them Scout. But it just gives it to them. And so all of a sudden, when you buy these commanders, you need to buy those units. Or when you buy those units, you have to buy that commander. And so as we discussed an idea, we've basically come up with the idea that rather than having an aura of handing out these abilities, at the beginning of their activation, they choose a unit to get the ability till the end of the round. So we're going to be testing that out today. So we got the Marshal, for example. He gives a core unit, so not even these guys anymore, Skirmisher. And the Eclipse Enforcer at the beginning of the game gives somebody Scout, even if she is in advanced deploy, so she's not on the table. Yeah. So we're going to see how that works.
And that works how the Gorkog and the Imari already work with their abilities too.
Yeah.
So it'll feel similar.
Yeah, it'll feel similar in that way, except those ones focus more on things like giving them a free move or move bonuses. Although you do have one over there, the Vice Lord. Yep. She has an aura, but it only affects cultists. So the ranged cultists get Skirmisher, and the close combat cultists get bonus movement. How do you feel about that one now that we've kind of have this new idea? Do you still like that aura, or would you rewrite it?
No, I still love that one. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, even though it's specifically to cultists?
Yeah, because they're the unarmored troops in the Veil Touched. So I feel like those are two different play styles.
Yeah, okay. Well, the reason that the Vice Lord does that is because it comes in the same box as the cultist.
Yes.
So that's one of those examples of rules written because of things that were out of my control. Like it was already decided that she was in a box because they came out in the Veil Touch campaign, which had nothing to do with Ravage Star. It was just a Chaos Space Marine proxy army, right? And I'm like, okay, well, she comes with those, so she can't interact with something that's in another box. That just seems cruel to the people who spent the money on a huge box of miniatures. I think some of the other changes that so you had the idea, let's discuss this one for a second, of giving close volley to pistols of close combat units. And what was your rationale behind that? So hold on, let's talk about that first. Close volley means that when you fall back or disengage, you can take a free shoot action. So what was your rationale of giving that to them? Because it's usually for vehicles, so they're not stuck in combat.
So from what I've experienced and what some other people told me is that a lot of the fun in the Steel Specters comes with how mobile they are, how they can redeploy and bounce around the battlefield. And so Skirmisher always came up as something that was a lot of fun for them. So in talking with some other people on the playtest Discord, we said it would be fun if the whole army kind of played like that, where you would have some of your core troops or cheaper guys get into melee and then pull back once your shooty guys were in point blank range.
So yeah, so the close combat guys charge forward, engage a unit, protecting the other guys who want to get close before they die. So the only problem we had is we couldn't find other units other than the Bladeburn Raiders, which it made sense on, because they're the only real close combat core, and you didn't think it would be a good idea to put it on a close combat elite.
Yeah, I think that would probably be too good.
Yeah, a little too powerful. So we're going to try that out on them and see how that works. So once again, they'll be able to fall back and shoot. It's only with a pistol. It's not the greatest weapon, and it's at -2 to hit. So it's really just meant so that they can still do some damage when they disengage. And we'll see how that works. And then, we also gave, we were going to give close volley to the shotguns, but I thought that would be a bad idea. Yeah. Another discussion was the Dragonfly. So what was the feedback you had for this? Oh, it's got a broken wing. I got to glue that back on. What was your feedback that you received on the Dragonfly from a lot of playtesters?
So the big thing I was hearing is that this guy is really cool. It's a really cool looking model and everyone wants to use him, but the rules weren't as cool as the model. So there's the disconnect there. So I had the idea that it might be interesting if it could be like an advanced deploy or redeploying transport, because we don't have anything like that yet. And it seems like that's what it would do. It would load up troops and take them wherever they need to go real fast.
Yeah, so that's what we did. All we did to the Dragonfly is we gave it transport 12. So basically it can transport a unit plus a character. And I'm going to be putting a unit of Telrathi Guardians inside of it to see how well that works. Because they can basically charge when they come out. As it's action to disembark them. And then they still can completely activate after that, which is fun. Or we'll see. I like that idea. And in my mind, the Dragonfly was always supposed to be a transport, but it just looked too small to be so. But then you disagreed. And so I'm like, all right, let's try it out. Let's try making it a transport. And now, obviously, that means its points will probably have to be adjusted. We haven't made any points changes. And for the most part, I don't think that'll matter too much because you'll have minor adjustments up and down in different units, and it'll all roughly be around a 600 point army.
Yeah, we didn't rewrite anything.
Yeah, not really. We just kind of changed out some auras for other auras. Or little things like now that the Marshal hands out to a core unit given him Skirmisher, one of his boost abilities is that he can give it to an elite unit instead. So that can really help buff, like, imagine like the armigers, like what are they called? I can't remember. I didn't name anything, so it's it's not solid in my head. The basically the two robots, so they could basically shoot and skirmish as well. Or some of the other ones as well. Not to any support, of course, because I'm reluctant to have anything buff support, because the idea behind them is they're supposed to be scary just on their own. And so that's why they're already limited in how many you can bring. So yeah, it's interesting to kind of look at this and try to figure out exactly what it is we're trying to accomplish with everything too. We did some minor adjustments, like all of the commanders in the Steel Specters had 8 wounds. But a lot of the other ones, like Amari and Gorkog, it'll be like the bigger ones have 8 wounds and the smaller ones have 6. So we changed some of them to 6 to be more in line with that, and other minor adjustments to their stats as well. But trying to stay within a certain ethos as you build everything out is interesting. Like, for example, you wanted to make it a unit of 12 drones, just to make it feel similar to some of the other ones, like the Flesh Seekers. But then he found out that we're already printing them for our Kickstarter, as well as for Adepticon, and so we're kind of locked into unit sizes at this point, because I can't sell them at 10 and then say, oh, by the way, they're 12. So there's all these, you have both business reasons to write things away, and then you have rules reasons. And since the miniatures in this case came first, that's a limiting factor as we figure out how to do this.
And it's always going to be when you come to games that go into production and want to be in retail.
Yeah. Now you all might be wondering, or maybe some of you are wondering, why the heck am I listening to Tony? He's just one dude. So Tony actually does a lot of different play testing for different games, and you've written rules yourself as well. And so, and I have found over the past, how long have we been doing this now? Year or so, or however long it's been. I get a lot of feedback from a lot of people, and a lot of it's good. But Tony's definitely been the most reliably consistent one, where he gives feedback that I find to be solid. And that's not digging on anybody else, because you're going to get tons of different play styles. You're going to get different opinions as to how things should be. And you're not even wrong. You just might not match up with what we want for the game. And there's no one way to do it right. And so I do, but I can't tell you guys enough how much I appreciate all of your work on the Discord, everybody that does that. There has been, I don't even know how many of the rules are just mine anymore, because I have changed so many little things from suggestions on the Discord, even before people play test, when there's something that's confusing and changing the wording, or something obviously is broken that I missed, or whatever it happens to be. So it's huge feedback, or huge value to the feedback that I've received. So thank you so much. Yep. And if somehow you're watching this video and you're not on the Discord, which seems unlikely, just because of where I'll be sharing this video, then make sure you head over there too, because we could always use more play testers. And Tony's actually got, oh yeah, that's the other thing Tony's done too. He's set up all the tabletop simulator stuff too, which is no small task. So you can actually play Ravish Star against people anywhere in the world. And there's a whole section in the Discord for organizing games for that. I've got to learn how to use tabletop simulator. I keep meaning to, but it's a little annoying to figure out.
It is.
The first time.
It's a little overwhelming, and some people don't like using it. I understand. I prefer to play in person too. I prefer can't play in person with people from all over the world.
Exactly. I much prefer to play in person, but Tabletop Simulator unlocks the ability to play test with more different kinds of people. And you're not just limited to whoever's around. And it allows people to participate in play testing without miniatures, because most of these miniatures aren't even out yet. So anyways, and we do have, like I said, we do have the Kickstarter coming up. So if you want to follow that, I'll put a link below in the description, so you can just put your name on the notify list. And because we could really use that support as well. The funds that we raise for Steel Specters will go right into the development of Ravish Star. And so we could use more funds for all of it. It's just been one big fat expense. And because it's taken longer than we want to, it means earning less revenue in the same amount of time. That's been a big deal, because I was hoping this would have been done by now and we already would be running the next big Game Pound campaign and generating that revenue. But since we haven't been doing that, our operating expenses are just eating away at stuff. And so if I can be frank, we're doing fine. We're getting there, but we could really use another influx of capital. in order to keep this game really growing at the speed that I would like it to grow. And so if you want to help out with that, then link below to be notified, and you can help out by buying the STLs or getting the physical versions of this. And of course, the game found for the Ravish Star game is still open for late pledges for a little bit longer until we close off for Wave 1 and get it finally shipped out. Hopefully in a couple months is the goal. So if you want to hop over there and buy stuff there as well, that would really help out. So thank you so much to all of you who have supported, because I'm pretty sure most people who are watching this probably already have bought something. So thank you very much. And we'll get to the battle reports. So stay tuned for that, because this video will go up before these battle reports do. So watch out for on the main channel for that. And I might, if we film a lot of these, I'll probably put some exclusive on this channel as well. Because if we have too many, I don't want to wait too long for them to go out, because then the rules will change so much that they won't even be valid anymore. So thanks so much. Thanks, Tony. Look forward to all the filming this week. And leave a comment below or in the Discord things that you'd like us to talk about, because by the end of the week, Tony and I will probably sit down and do some development diaries. So if you have questions about the development of Ravish Star, I'd love to hear it. So leave that in the comments below or in the Discord. Happy wargaming.